Hi, Andrew. Before we start the meeting, guys, I want to make an announcement. I don't know if it's a bad announcement or a good announcement, but something was on my radar that you all should know. It came and it's about the approximate SNAP payments by family size in 2025. The USDA has increased the monthly amount and it starts in September 2025. So what I did was I made a copy. I'll put it into the chat and for you to look at. There you go. You can pull it up and read about it. In September 2025 is when the increase of SNAP benefits will go up.
Yeah.
Of the maximum. I thought you guys should know about that. It goes into the bigger the families, the more I guess they get. Like for one person gets like 975 now, come September of this month in food stamps, I think. But I'll let you read that on your own time. No problem, Maria. So want to let you all know that I'm happy we are as a team with us, and you do have the right to speak your opinion on what's working, what's not working on this stuff. So as we go forward, for the icebreaker, we'd go with, what award would you like to have or perhaps deserve? And who would like to start with that? Okay, I'll start. For me, I would like to have, as you all well know, I got 15 awards. So my perfect one, I would think it would be coming from the board of directors of Jackson Care Connect. I really liked that because it gave me the idea that I did my job good. That people were very impressed in the type of work I did for them on the board of directors. And so who would like to go next?
I would like to have an award for being patient. Yes.
Good.
I will pass it to, let's see, Dion.
Good morning, everybody. Dion Destin, pronouns are he, him. You know what? I get awkward with awards, so I think for me, just I like knowing that I help people. So just a thank you, if anything, thank you awards, thank you cards. Those all work for me. And then I'll get it over to James.
Yeah, James Sparta, he, him, the engagement strategies coordinator here at OEP, and I'll say that the thing that popped in my head is, for a few glorious years I was playing Ultimate Frisbee, and I would have loved that we could have won some more tournaments, but I was just too slow. So, but we did win one, so that was a lot of fun. And I'll pass it over to well, I guess next person I see on the video is Asusana.
I think this is a hard question for me. I would like to win a half marathon award.
Oh, that would be nice.
I've won one once, but that was many, many moons. It would be great if I could win one again. Okay, and I forgot I am supposed to pick somebody, so let me go to who is here. I see Susan.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Um, Susan with the Community Health Centers of Lane County, and let's see, awards. I don't know. I had perfect attendance in high school, but I like missed some periods to go to the doctor, so I didn't actually win the award. So I would have really liked to get the actual perfect attendance award in high school for all 4 years. And I can't make my view change so I can see who's here. So if somebody can go next, that'd be great. Thanks.
Sydney, have you gone?
I have not, and I will second April's suggestion. If I could give myself an award for all of my books read last year, that would be fantastic. I was on a good streak. So I'll take that one. I'll also pass it on to April as well.
I'm just gonna say the Doing My Best award.
Nice.
Judith, have you gone?
No.
Great. You and your dog, what do you guys want to win?
Well, I'm much like Andrew. I do not like recognition. I don't like to stand out. I like other people to take credit for teamwork. I love it when people say a job well done. And I have turned down many prominent awards, and I feel very good about it because there's always someone there I feel that deserves it more than I. And I think that's important. So I thank you. And my little dog too. And Angel, have you gone? Angel.
I can go if Angel's not ready.
Okay.
So I don't know what award I'd like to win. The award I deserve is probably least amount of movies watched. Because I keep thinking recently, because I keep thinking there's also, especially now in like movie award season, there's so many different movies I really want to watch and get to. But with having a little kid, I cannot find 2 hours to string together to focus on a movie, and it's really depressing to me because I love movies so much and I love staying up on new movies. So yeah, least amount of movies watched is the award I deserve right now.
But that's a good award.
Yeah, we try and watch some kids movies, but he's still only 2, so he's got a very limited attention span, and asking him to sit still for 90 minutes is a big ask.
I'm proud of you, Andrew. Good dad. Good dad.
Vanessa, you want to go?
Sure. To be honest, the only award I really care about and would like to have is to be a cool, funny mom. But my son is hitting a teenager age, so now I'm just giving him the ick. And because I'm like trying to keep up with like, what are y'all talking about? Like, what do you mean, like Rizzler and no cap? So I'm like, I try to talk to him, and he's like, no, mom, no. Like, so and it's hard because my daughter's still young, so she's still my best friend and wants to go hang out at Target and do all the things. When my son's like, Mom, you're doing too much, and I'm like, dang. So that's the only word I'd like to have is the cool, funny mom, but I'm losing it.
Nice.
Okay, Inja?
Oh, Angel.
I'm with Vanessa. I would like to have the Best Mom Award, and I hope my family think that I deserve it. Thank you. And I don't know who hasn't gone.
We have
No.
a new guest here today. Paul, you want to introduce yourself and answer?
Sure. My name is Paul Alderson. I work with the technical team in ODHS. Let's see. Awards. Because I've been doing it for as long as I have, I'd probably like to get a customer service award. I feel like I've done a great job over the years, and I feel like I've taught it well along the way to others. So yeah, a customer service award would work for me.
Okay. And Mariah?
Hi guys, I'm Mariah Watchman. I'm the resource coordinator at Yellow Hawk Tribal Health Center. I'm a community partner. One award I'd like to have, or maybe that I feel I deserve, is I'd really like to be the first gal inducted into our Nick Yahweh High School Basketball Women's Hall of Fame. I was the first all four-year varsity ball player for our tribal high school, and then the first player to break 1,000 points in our women's basketball program. So kind of when I was there, it was the second year of our tribal high schools existence. And so I feel like eventually I'd like to coach our basketball high school girls team and everything like that. And I would really love to go back and kind of have them realize that I really worked hard in that program and everything in the beginning on kind of setting a foundation to a long lasting good program. So if our athletic director would ever like to make that happen for me or something, I think that would be something in this lifetime I would love to leave behind.
Okay. Angel, did you get your audio back up? Angel?
Yeah.
Okay. Samantha, how about you?
I'm gonna slightly tweak it, George, because you know how I am, George. I can't actually think of a award that I would like to have or that I deserve, but Dion and I have joked in the past. At OEP, we have a director's award that's given out to staff every year, and we have joked that it needs to be the Bean Award. So I would like the director's award renamed to the Bean Award to be given out to OEP staff who do a great job every year. So that's mine. Slight tweak, but yeah.
Okay. Dion, you already went, right, Dion?
I did. I did, but I think Sam should just get the Bean Award. I mean, she was on the phone with the vet and us at the same time, so maybe she does get the Bean Award.
I think so too. Yay! All in favor?
Hi.
Yay!
Hi.
Okay, April, did you already go, April? Okay.
Susan?
Susan. Yeah, I think she already went. Right, Susan? Yeah, she already went. When we go on this agenda, guys, we have a very long agenda. So in some parts, I'm going to have to speed a little bit because it's a very long agenda. So I'm going to hand it over to James.
Yeah, it's well, it's a long agenda, but we'll see. But this part is long because this is the recap of what the heck we've been doing and what's getting implemented still. And so my name is on this part of the agenda, but really this is where I hand it over again to Andrew to talk about all the different things we've been doing and their status in implementation.
Yep. So request 35, we did talk about this last time, but just to give a little bit of a review, we have a few changes here. So I have C and D will be going in the March 12th build. That's requiring a note and reason for canceling appointments and sending a confirmation for cancellation or cancellation reschedule in the applicant portal or the online portal. And 35E, the mobile mobile adding manage appointment functionality that unfortunately is beyond scope for a work item, which we kind of had a feeling was going to happen when we submitted this, but we figured we'd try anyways. So that is going to be moving to a change request. The good news there, as we know, change requests take a bit longer to be implemented, is we have a few change requests on the horizon that this will package with nicely. So we're going to include it in mid change request for allowing self-schedule in the online portal. So it should be a slightly quicker path than having to, completely start this as its own separate change request. Request 39, add appointment cancellation details to worker portal, has been moved to the April 9th build. So it was previously slated to go in March 12th. We had to shuffle some things around. So that was pushed back to April 9th. And we can go to the next slide. Request 50, the adding ERDC waitlist status to applicant portal and mobile app, is in the March 12th build. One thing I want to add on this one is, in addition to those waitlist statuses, Deloitte had a really cool idea that when someone has been invited to reapply for ERDC, when they have that status on the individual dashboard in the online portal, it's also going to display a banner at the top, kind of what we would think of as a warning message, but this isn't really a warning, but it's just going to say another way to say, hey, you've been selected to reapply for ERDC. You have the next 45 days to do so. Request 59, update the online portal income screens to only display the income screen field or the income detail fields once add income has been selected. We've already implemented this for the earned income screen, but coming May 14th will be the addition, that same addition to the self-employment, unearned, and specific income screens. Request 60, the message center update to show which program a notice applies to by adding a column next to each message, will be coming in the April 9th build. Request 61, reminder to add self-employment expenses to the tax deduction screen, will be coming in the April 9th build. Fixing the program name, request 62, fixing the program name for RARE from research to the actual name of resource has been logged and will be going in June, I want to say 12th build, the early June build. And then request 64, adding asset verification system description and consent to the online portal. Currently, it's just a form or something that's reviewed with a worker through an audio recording that we need to staff with medical policy. I have a message out to medical policy. No response on that yet. It was just sent a week or two ago. So I will, if I don't hear anything back this week, we'll probably be following up with them. We just need to get their confirmation that this fits within policy to add it to the portal before we make that request.
Now, guys, is there any questions that you need to ask Andrew before we go any further on these requests? Especially Vanessa, that's been one in the EDRC. No? Vanessa, are you okay with the request with the EDRC? Okay with that?
Yeah, it's just a notification to come and apply, right?
Yeah.
That you're being asked off the wait list.
Yeah, well, it's adding all of the waitlist statuses, but the addition that I had to that is when they have the waitlist status of being invited to reapply, there'll also be an additional notification on the screen, just trying to really capture folks' attention that, hey, you have an opportunity to reapply. Please do so if you're still requesting ERDC.
Okay, Andrew, go ahead.
I think that's the last of the.
Yeah. I have one other little recap thing that isn't on the PowerPoint, but it is in the agenda, is that again, Director Akshara is again appreciative of the work this month, and it also noted Ruth's passing. It's, calling her an icon that's not so easily replaced. But pointed out Andrew's guide for the iconography work, and he was impressed by that. And then he had a request to get a complete list of all the ideas that have already been implemented, those in the pipeline, timeline for implementation, and projected outcomes. So I've put together a draft of that, of what this committee has done over the last now year and a half. And so we'll we'll be sharing that with this group too, but just to let you know that, again, he's interested in our work. So thank you again to all the members and all the staff that make this possible. So
James, that was Director Pakaresh that wants to know what we have done so far.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited. Thank you.
Yeah. And all right. Well, yeah, we have this. I realize I haven't brought this up, but our communications, or our web team, was so kind to help put up a website. And Angel, I'll go ahead and share my screen so I can show everyone what I'm talking about. If you clicked on the link in the agenda, you would go to this page. And I just want to point this out. I'd love to start getting feedback of what you think is needed on this page. But here's a little bit of a directory that'll take you to different parts. But we have how-to videos and on using the One account. These are short videos. They're like 4.5 minutes. So it's, from like 2.5 to 5 minutes long is my memory. I think Samantha and Andrew had the joy of going through these line by line. And there's also Spanish translations of these videos as well. But we have some print materials for the mobile app, social media cards, and I think, yeah, oh yeah, just a general video app. And there's an old toolkit. I'm not as anxious to share that because it's sort of old, but we'll hopefully get that updated. But in any case, I don't mean I shouldn't be going through every single link here, but just get a sense of what is out there. But I will also make a plug. Here's links to medical assisters, and also there is a smaller group of groups that help get the word out about SNAP. Links to the various programs. But then there's a quarterly meeting I also host that tries to serve as an office hour for people who have questions as they're trying to help others apply for programs to the One system. And if you're interested in that, you can just email me. And there's us. Now, I've been asking the web team, hey, can we put up our agendas and our briefing sheets and stuff? And they're not too thrilled with that idea right now. So we just have the charter and the link to the past recordings. But I'm hoping that there'll be some interest in doing that as well. So, we'll see. And yeah, so that's just letting you know that exists. And I'll even drop in the chat in April. That funny you asked that. I just looked over the chat. I was just talking to one of our Spanish communications people about what needs to be translated. And so, like for instance, these two meetings, they're both in English. Our meeting right now is in English. And we're looking, there's not much sense in like translating this part into other languages if there's not any accessibility to them in other languages. But a lot of these other materials, given that the ONE system itself is in Spanish, do need to be in Spanish. So that's something that we'll be working on. April, do you have any other questions about that?
No, just wondering if like those videos, as well as anything else that will continue to be added to that will have
Yeah,
additional languages.
I don't, yeah, here, those 4 videos on the video link, they're also, they're right here as well, and here in Spanish. I still have to get the web team to put the Spanish links in the video library too. I'm not sure why that hasn't happened yet. Yeah, so again, love to get your impressions of it, your suggestions. You know, April, you're absolutely right about getting it at least in Spanish, since the ONE system is in Spanish as well.
James,
Yeah.
there's 2 questions. If we get back to that website that you were just on,
Yeah. Yeah, I'll bring it back up.
okay, if you go down all the way,
Mm-hmm.
keep going.
All the way down.
Now, when you get to, okay, go up,
Oh, okay.
go up, slowly, go up. Okay, go back the other way, go up. When you go into the get involved,
Mm-hmm.
when you're putting this out, are we actually, or are you guys actually inviting people that are not on the committee as guests?
Okay, for this one, yeah, we can invite people. This one, I'm actually asking people if they are interested in participating to go ahead and just contact me, not necessarily inviting them to the meeting. Like I was just having a conversation with someone last week about potential membership. But if any of you know people who you think would be a good fit here, I would be happy to talk to them about membership.
Because I just want to make sure that when we're conducting these meetings, that guests would be allowed to come on board and see what we're doing too. I just wanted to make sure that we were on the same page.
Well, it's a public meeting.
Right.
So guests are allowed. That's just part of Oregon's rules.
Okay.
Yeah,
and that's the best way to get people snagged, right?
That's true.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we really haven't pushed out the meeting invite so much, you know, I guess partially because my Zoom license just allows these types of meetings, not, you know, members and and visitors type things. But, and of course, all, you know, what we're doing right now is on the internet and it's recorded, and, you know, for whatever reason, there's 40 some people who will watch it probably. At least load the YouTube video. So yeah.
Okay. And the second question is,
Mm-hmm.
as you're presenting this website here,
Mm-hmm.
have you guys also decided on the conversations we've had on sending out the charts with the question marks and explanation points to the state branch offices yet? Have you guys done that yet? Or are you in the process of doing that?
The charts with the question marks, and I'm not sure what you're referring to.
Andrew, can you rephrase?
Oh, you mean the guide that
Yeah.
Andrew put together? I think we're still in the process of figuring out exactly what we're going to do with it. So it has not been sent out yet.
I'm just curious.
Yeah. And that's a topic for later on in the agenda.
Okay, so how do you guys think about this setup on the website? I think it's wonderful myself. Speak freely.
What's the difference between this and just the normal site? Because this says it's resources for partners, but everything you click kind of just takes you back to the main site. Other than those videos, like, because I'm thinking like as a person that aids people when they're applying for a benefit or having difficulties, they're looking more and like, how do I get additional help? How do I get in touch with a supervisor? Why were my benefits denied? Or what exactly are they looking for? Because this really is just looping you back into the website. Like it's not, I don't see anything additional. No offense.
None taken. I think because if people have questions about their individual cases, we're expecting them to probably call the VEC line or the customer service line. And there's not really any information here. I don't think that replaces that is going to be any better. I see this more as a resource for partners like yourself, to better understand how the system works, to find a place where you can ask questions. I've been doing a couple applications and we get stuck at this point. What am I supposed to be doing? So that, I think that's the extent of it.
And Maria says overall format seems easy to follow. Read through community partners to access. Wouldn't you happen to have a customer service number on here too? Just in case they go through these videos and need to reach somebody by phone?
That's an interesting point, including, the team, if someone is having issues with their connection, reminding them of Paul's team, of the technical team, or, if they're having issues with the case, remind them, well, you call the customer service line. And I feel like my answer was very unimpressive to Vanessa, but but I'm hoping that it's sort of a single spot for just communications and informational resources for partners, as opposed to what most of our website is for program recipients.
So what do you guys think? April? Susan? Mariah? Ninja? What do you guys all think?
I think it's okay.
Cindy, what do you think? Okay. Is it more of a help, guys? I got some thumbs up. April wants more languages than just English and Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's your answer, James.
Okay. Well, let me get some more Spanish on there, and then we'll also see some specific flyers that we can translate into more languages too. And maybe April and Maria, I'll follow up with you on specific things that you think would be most helpful.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for that feedback. The next thing on our agenda is a change that is coming to the ONE system in, well, about a month from now. We have a legislative mandate to collect information not only about what we call REAL-D, race, ethnicity, and language disability, but also sexual orientation and gender identity. And so there's a lot of information coming, and Samantha worked long and hard on this, and Andrew created a nice guide. So I don't know who wants to start talking about these changes.
I can start and share the guide that I have. Let me get that. It's telling me I cannot start screen share while the other participant is sharing.
Yeah, so Angel, we're poor Angel, you sharing and not sharing here over and over.
All right, give me just a second here.
Oh, Angel, you're sharing again.
Money, Samantha.
Okay, so hopefully you can all see my screen, and this will just be an overview of kind of the high level overview of what we're changing here. So this, as James mentioned, change request provides update to REAL-D, which is race, ethnicity, language, and disability, and SOGI, which is sexual orientation and gender identity fields in the ONE system to comply with mandated updates to the Oregon administrative rules to better represent how individuals identify themselves and to provide more detailed data to systems and partners. Updates are being made in both the ONE online portal, and they'll also be available in the worker portal for the worker side of things. And as James mentioned, these will be present in March as of March 12th. One important thing to note, these screenshots in this document at the time that I created this weren't the most up-to-date ones, and it shows a lot of these fields as mandatory, but we do have some additional changes going in with this change request that's going to update fields for pronouns, sexual orientation, gender identity, gender modality, and any related texts will now be optional in the system once this change request is deployed. So this first set of changes happens on 3 different screens. So really any screen when we're updating information about one of the individuals on the cases. So that could be primary applicant information, household information, or the deceased household information screens. We're adding the question, what are individuals' pronouns? Check all that apply. You can see in the highlighted areas over here what those changes will look like and the number of different options that will be available to individuals. In addition to that question, we then ask what pronouns should we use when communicating with that individual. So of those selected pronouns, they can select which language they would like ODHS to use in relation to them, and then what is individual's sex. We've updated some text on this screen as well. So the highlighted text that we would like to ask about individuals' sex and gender. This helps us to understand and give everyone the best care and services, no matter who they are. And while we hope you answer these questions, you can select don't know or don't want to answer, and your responses are confidential. And then in addition to that, updating some of our partners require that we tell them either male or female. If individual can only select either male or female, what sex best describes the individual. And we've removed some questions from this screen and relocated them onto the general demographic screen. So that's what is individual's gender, is individual transgender, and all race and ethnicity questions have also been moved to that new screen. So mentioning that new screen, here it is. And so this is going to be a new screen that appears in the screen flow in the online portal, which will show language, race and ethnicity questions. And I'm sorry, race and ethnicity questions and the gender and gender modality questions. So the questions have been updated to add new fields for identifying race, ethnicity, tribal affiliation, country of origin, ancestry, and whether or not the individual is Hispanic. I swore I updated this. I apologize for that typo. If they're Latina, Latinx, Latino, or if they're of Spanish ancestry. Additionally, questions relating to gender identity, gender modality, which gender modality is the question, is the individual transgender, and sexual orientation are also located on this new screen. And then the certain questions on this screen have age-based display logic, so only certain individuals in certain age ranges will have specific questions displayed for them. And then language-related changes take place on the listed screens here. So really any screen we're updating contact information. So case contact information, dependent contact information, the incomplete SNAP application, which has recently been renamed to submit filing date for SNAP, or the settings edit screen. So you've added a new question. Does the individual use only English at home? And does the individual need or want any of the following for us to communicate with them? So language specific support needs. So we've updated wording and display logic for the communication needs fields on this screen. So for individuals who are 0 through 4 and not head of household, one is not going to display most of the language and communication fields, and it's going to default based on questions to either match the head of household, or if it's an existing individual, it will match their previous answers from their profile in the system. For individuals 5 and up, or in the circumstance where we would have a head of household who's under 5, it's going to dynamically display language and communication fields based on if they're applying in English or in Spanish on the online portal. So for example, if an individual is applying in Spanish, the question, does the individual use only English at home, is not going to be displayed. It's making the assumption that since they're applying in Spanish, they do not use only English at home. And then alternatively, when an individual is applying and enters, applying in English and enters yes to answer that question about using only English at home, the remaining language questions are not going to be displayed. So limiting the amount of information that individual has to answer if they've already just, decided to answer language that they use in their home. And finally, disability demographics, we have some changes to the disability demographic screen. So we've added, if the individual identifies as someone with a disability or having a physical, mental, emotional, cognitive, or intellectual condition, describe their disability or condition in any way they would prefer. And in this top highlighted area, we can see that there's an open text field for that person to describe their whatever their condition may be in the way that they would prefer. If the individual identifies as somebody with a disability or having a physical, mental, emotional, cognitive, or intellectual condition, do they need or want disability-related accommodations? Select all that apply or enter additional details. So that is just a basic overview. I know this is a lot of change into some of our existing screen change about the way that individuals have to identify themselves. So we just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of this and for knowledge purposes and in particularly for community partners for being able to help communicate these changes to the folks you're working with.
Now I have a question for you, Andrew and Sam. Because of the Oregon State has these rules on what we just went over, and Trump doing the executive order, how hard is it for you guys to kind of do this thing and not getting into trouble with the Justice Department. Even though SNAP is a federal program, are you having to change a lot of things?
So my understanding is as of right now, from our state perspective, we've been told to continue on this path of making these changes. We'll be updated if there's any changes to that. And then I will point out, as Usana mentioned in the comments, that people will have the right to not answer these questions. They're going to be optional, non-mandatory at the time this is implemented. So yeah, that's my answer to that.
I would also add that in regards to what we report back to the feds for a program like SNAP, for example, SNAP only asks us to identify the sex of individuals receiving the program, right? And there was that question there that said, hey, some of our partners can only accept male or female. So tell us which one of those would best represent you. And we allow the individual to select male or female, and that's the value that will be passed to the feds. So in that way, Trump's executive order is not necessarily impacting our data collection, you know, specific to like the SNAP program.
Okay.
So Maria asked in the chat, are these the final updates and revisions? Will there be opportunity to provide feedback about this before or after implementation? Maria, I would suggest that you work within your avenues as a community partner to provide feedback. These are the final updates and revisions. They came from OHA's equity and inclusion team, doing some outreach and accepting community feedback on the Oregon revised statutes that they, or I'm sorry, the Oregon administrative rules that they submitted back in 2023, I believe it is. But as we know, you know, we can think something's the best idea, and then as time goes on, realize not quite such a great idea, because the text of the questions and the way they're presented are very specifically outlined in the Oregon revised statute, or I'm sorry, the Oregon administrative rules for this. It would take a rules change to change the way that they're going to present in the ONE online portal and the worker portal, and the way that workers are going to ask them of clients in those sorts of situations. So I would chase down your regular avenues for providing that sort of feedback through CPOP as you experience and receive feedback and form your own feedback that you'd like to move up the chain.
Yeah, can I ask a question, please, for you or Andrew?
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you guys experienced or had a lot of comment on the application itself during the ONE portal and everything, and getting a hold up that technical error on the disability page? Have you guys seen that? Because it's happened for me at least 4 times in the past couple weeks, where every time I get to that question, in particular on the application, about, you know, is anybody legally blind or disabled? If I answer no, and anybody in the past had ever had possibly been receiving, or the answer is just no, when I get to the next page, it automatically takes me to a technical error page where it gives me a phone number and all this. But I've had that happen at least 4 or 5 times on this one specific question in the system, more than I've ever seen it happen in 3 years now. Are you guys seeing that happen a lot?
Yes, Mariah, and that, so what's actually it is happening on the following page, which would be the individual program request, and the fix for that is coming this week. I believe the build should be on the
12th. Yeah.
The 12th. Yeah. So that should be fixed. It's something that has been brought up to us. And just real quick, what's actually occurring is when there's multiple individuals on a case and only some of them are receiving benefits, or when you're adding a new individual to a case and requesting new benefits for that person, something's happening. The system's getting confused on that individual program request screen, and it's breaking, and that's why you're seeing that error. But
Yeah, I think probably I want to say 5 cases for me in just the last couple weeks alone. And it's been extremely frustrating because if it's like I have a family of 5 that I'm trying to work on and I'm already halfway through, and if I'm not sitting here handwriting all of the information, well, I get to that page, I get to that, and I know I've tried to work over it 3 times maybe, and it's just going to kick me back to the main dashboard every single time. So it's kind of like I have no other outlet besides submitting that to H&A at that point and basically asking him to work the case. And if I didn't sit there and write down every detail of every income change and this and that, now I'm having to go back and forth and answer all these questions to even try to process one medical application for a big family. So I didn't know why it was happening because I've been having to let my regional outreach coordinator, know about this issue.
Mhm.
So I just wasn't sure since had you guys here, I figured I'd ask.
No, I appreciate the call because I know it is something that a lot of people have been dealing with, and I'm sure it's incredibly frustrating. But the good news this week, once that bill goes in, should be Thursday, or if it gets delayed, Friday morning. But by the end of the week, we should hopefully see a resolution in that area.
Okay, thank you guys.
Maria?
Hi, Andrew, will you go over those, the sheet again regarding like the ages part for the SOGI? Can you explain that one more time?
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't want to get too technical on the first read through there. But let me get that back up and I will be happy to go over that.
Thanks. And I did notice there were little like question marks next to each part. And I'm assuming that maybe that'll help to explain what each option means. And I'm just trying to picture ahead how we can help our, Asian speaking folks, what all of those mean. And I'm wondering if there's already translated materials about it that we can kind of help explain it to our members.
Yeah, so with the online portal, everything is translated in English and Spanish currently. So we'll have those translations, but I don't believe there's any other work being done on other translations. There isn't typically when we build things into the portal. But as you mentioned, we do have these help text, which will help explain that, at least in the languages that we have available. And then to talk more about the age-based display logic for gender identity values. So individuals ages 0 through 4 will only display the race and ethnicity values. So this bottom section, and I apologize for scrolling up and down so much, but this bottom section is not going to display for individuals ages 0 through 4.
Okay.
Individuals 5 through 11 will only display a specific set of gender identity values in addition to the race and ethnicity. So I think the most basic way I can explain that is like where we see referred to like girl or woman, boy or man. Those will be specific to like a child. It'll just say girl or boy in those, and certain options will also be limited.
Right.
And then individuals aged 12 and older will display all gender identity, gender modality, and sexual orientation values in addition to the race and ethnicity values.
Thank you, Andrew. I guess I was concerned about it because some of these words, I don't think the translations exist in some languages. So I'm just trying to figure out, okay, how are we going to do this? Thanks.
Yeah, I can imagine that's challenging. And if certain things come up, certainly feel like to reach out for our opinion on how to handle that. But I also agree with you. I don't know that we've had this opportunity before to think through how to best communicate all of these different changes and everything that these changes encompass to every different cultural group, language, things like that. So that's a good call out.
Hey, Maria, I do know that these questions are also being produced on a separate form by E&I. to be stuffed in with the 7210 paper application. And they're also going to be used by a variety of healthcare providers, hospitals, doctors' offices, etc. I just touched base with Marty from E&I to see if they already have a set of translations on these values for the additional languages required by OHA, because the options and the text of the questions are the same. So it's entirely possible that E&I know in the past that they've gone through and done like community vetting of translations, and he may know if they've finalized any of those translations yet. So let me get back to you to see if E&I has a resource on that. Thank you.
Here's a question from Susan. Is it clear where we need to put the sex marker that aligns with the person's social security number? Andrew, Samantha?
Yeah, so kind of fun thing that happened as part of gearing up for this CRM. I say fun extremely loosely. You guys know. Was in a review of the data that we're sending when we send our member matching file to the SSA, we actually discovered that Social Security was not matching against the person's sex. So we don't need to be concerned with giving that sort of clarification. In the past, it looks like they had been about a decade ago, but things have changed, and that's no longer part of their matching criteria. So we no longer have to ask individuals to match to what Social Security has on file. And that's why you saw that shift in language, right, where it's vague. It's just, what is your sex?
Susan, did you get your question answered?
Yeah, I know I used to have to contact people because their insurance didn't match the sex that was in our clinics, and we're getting like denied bills because of that. I'm not sure if that still happens, but I'm just concerned if they received a service, if their insurance marks them as a certain gender and they receive a service that's not for that gender, usually, like I think
marked male
maybe that's
and
not
are getting,
yeah, maybe that's no longer a problem.
it is, Susan. It's because the MMIS still has some of the billing codes connected to perk codes that require a certain gender. It is a situation where they need to call client maintenance and have client maintenance override it to allow them to access those services. So yeah, it's going to continue to be a problem until we have a broader change in the way that our Medicaid information system, MMIS, is functioning. I do know that MMIS is going through a modernization project, and that was called out as one of the issues that are impacting Oregonians, that that some of the services are locked behind gendered, basically billing codes. Long and short, Susan, you might know what a perk code is, but yeah, they're just locked behind the wrong perk codes right now. So it will continue to be a problem. It's not going to be a new problem that exists because of this change to the text.
I have a question for Samantha or Andrew. When a social security number has to be put into the application, when a consumer or other puts their social security number in, does it go XXXX or does it have numbers showing up?
Yep, it immediately, we call it obfuscating, George. It immediately obfuscates it. It puts in asterisk. So it flips it to asterisk immediately.
So no one will have access to the numbers.
Exactly.
Good. Okay, James, where do we go from here?
Well, if there's no other questions, we go to a break. And I didn't mean to say it that way to kill any other questions, but
Do we have questions before we go break? Okay. let's
all
go.
right. Well, let's be back at what is it? The 12:17.
See you then. Okay, James, take it away.
All right. Well, welcome back. I realized I was hungry and ran and got some food, but yeah, the next item on our agenda, we can as Angel is working away. There we go. So everything looks big on my screen right now. There we go. This is just a little reminder, a little recap that the planning team thought it would be good to review. I know we had a long recap at the beginning of the meeting, but some of the bigger requests that you all have had or that we've had submitted, just a little update. We have this thing called the strategic roadmap, or am I saying it right? Strategic plan roadmap. I forget. But in any case, a couple of these items are on that roadmap, except let's see. So that first item, number 14, that's it's on there, but it's not doesn't have a date yet. This is well, what you see screens with the end dates have to be updated to let the client know that the information was saved correctly. This so it's there, but it's going to be a little bit yet. And the next one, though, the one that we thought is going to be a little bit of a problem because it's a larger request. Well, it turns out that we've been getting this request from a lot of different places to allow users to schedule their own interviews, like you can, in some other places as well. And so that is actually on that. Please don't hold anyone to this, but it's on the calendar for March 2026. It may get moved around, but that one is in place to move forward. Now, other items that we've talked about here are still in the process of trying to get into the lineup, so to speak. And you can see that list below. And one thing that's at the bottom, the online portal modernization. Samantha, do you want to talk about what is entailed in this online portal modernization?
Sure, I can talk about that. Let me actually pull it up. So, as some of you guys have observed, the portal's a little bit clunky. It's not the newest, freshest. For example, it doesn't work really well on tablets, doesn't work really well on cell phones. That's part of the reason why we created the mobile app to be able to use on cell phones. But there's times when we say, oh, we can't really do this because the technology just isn't there, etc. So for a while, we've been, looking at opportunities to modernize our One Online portal to bring it up to a more responsive, mobile-ready design, make it a little more modern looking, add in some of those fun technologies that we see other states having and we see, companies having on their websites that really make the website easier to use and more functional for customers. Looking into, things like additional accessibility features and the ability to be a little more dynamic and a little more guided as we have people navigating through. So this is the first of probably 2 to 3 phases, right? We don't want to really, we don't want to kill Andrew with work, so do it chunk by chunk. And the first phase will include migrating to an updated back end of the system, a more updated, more modern set of technologies behind it. It will keep all the current text. It'll keep all the current translations. It'll keep all the current flows and ways to navigate through the system, but it will clean up the ability to add some of those new neat features we're all seeing, etc. Now, this one is it is very much wanted, but it's kind of sitting off in the, okay, we need to do it, but nobody's making us do it, right? None of the feds are saying we have to do it. So we're still trying to figure out exactly where we can slot that in to give it the amount of time it's going to need to have a good job done to it. So it's something that it's out there. We know people want it. We also want it. Can't quite figure out how to time it yet, though. So, I think we just need to keep putting pressure from all of our different angles. Talking about, hey, we really do need a more modern site. We do need more features for customers, especially individuals who speak languages other than English and Spanish, individuals who need additional accessibility, people who only have a phone or only have a tablet. Just keep pushing those angles. We're trying to get it scheduled, and it's got interest, but it's hard to get it scheduled right now. So, yeah.
Well, and when it finally does get scheduled, we might be able to get some of these ideas, some of these other big ideas in there with it too, I suppose.
It really depends on the phase and the big idea, right? Yep. Because the very first phase is mainly getting us to that back end that can support all of these, we may not be able to get some of the ideas in the first round. But as we're working through getting into the second round, where we're going in, we're actually starting to make changes to the text on the screen. We're making changes to the order that screens appear, and how, what kind of smart assistance the system can provide to help customers and users navigate through. That's where we'll start to see a lot more of our on-screen big ideas come in and being folded into this.
Andrew and Samantha, this is George. On 22, 45, and 65, do you guys have enough room and space to back up these texts on your guys' system, or does it go on people's phones for their space for these texts?
It's all held on our side. They can download it if they choose to, or each time they're accessing it, it'll load up and it uses our side's memory.
Okay. Does anybody want to ask Andrew and Samantha and James the questions on these?
Yeah.
No.
Just to let you know what was going on.
Okay. Go ahead, James.
We can go to the next slide. And yeah, there's new requests. In fact, updated the presentation. I didn't update the agenda. This is number 72. And well, Andrew, why don't I just, before I start fumbling over a description, why don't I let you get us going on it, and we can pull up the briefing sheet too at some point.
Would help if I unmuted myself. So yeah, we will see in just a moment a mock-up of what I'll talk about here, but on the income screen, specifically unearned income, there is an option for either other income. Well, so sorry, there's an option for the source of other income. And then the type of income, there's other income taxable and other income non-taxable. And this came up recently. It's being used particularly for paid leave organ. This is how we're instructing individuals and workers to document paid leave organ is depending on what type of paid leave organ you're receiving, it's either other income taxable or other income non-taxable. And for workers, we're asking them to make a note about what type of source this is from, essentially. So they would say, like, paid leave organ, family leave, something like that. There is no memo or comment field, note field on the online portal side of this. So we're proposing to add, when one of these two types of income are selected, to add a field where individuals can put a comment or note about what type of income this is, whether that is paid leave organ or something else that meets what other income or taxable or non-taxable would be.
Any questions?
Do we have the briefing sheet? Because I mean, it's fairly
Yeah.
basic, but the briefing
Okay.
sheet should show a kind of a mock-up that I made of what it might look like.
There, I'll share it.
But yeah, like I said, fairly straightforward, but just adding in this, if we can zoom in just a little bit, even I didn't give the biggest screenshot. Apologies about that. But yeah, essentially just adding this this field here. It would just be an open text field where someone could specify what that income is. And I just titled it as other income notes / comments. I don't know if we want to talk about what we might want that to say. We can decide on wording if people don't like other income notes / comments. And it would be, I guess we're proposing it as a optional field. So something that
I'm a num-num, so I get it.
okay. You're a little muted. I heard what you said, but it sounded like you had a little bit of
because I'm a num-num and it makes sense.
yeah.
Maria says, yes, this would be helpful. Thank you. So is there any questions to Andrew and Samantha on the comment section?
I have a question. Will the comment come over onto their application summary, like for renewal?
Yeah. Yep. It would be populated on the summary.
Andrew, I will have to say, did you and Samantha and James do a further research on what other incomes there is, like gift cards? Because gift cards can also be considered as income on most programs.
Yeah, I think there's a specific way to indicate gifts. I would have to look at exactly what income type it comes under.
Gift cards are in the system. I remember when we added it. There are about 800 different income types available in the system. Yeah, I know. Very complex to keep track of all of that. We're really using this as a way to kind of get around all of those onesie twosies where we don't see a statistically significant number of those incomes coming in that would make us want to make income number 800 and so yes and no, George. There's been a lot of research done on it. specifically gift cards, yes.
Okay, and there was a question that came up for you, Samantha. Is there a list of income types by category?
Oh, Susan, you know there is. I don't know how much you want me to melt your brain though. But yeah, I'll send it to you, Susan, and you can decide if that was too much and it hurts your head.
Actually, Samantha, I think it would be beneficial and really good help if it could be, if you would choose to send it to Mariah and Vanessa and Cindy and all of them that has these organizations that might help them out more. Like April.
Yeah.
Pell Grants, are they considered as income on you guys' radar? Because on some programs, Pell Grants are considered income too. I
Yep.
did.
Yeah, so would be reported as yeah, the grants, and there's all sorts of different student, what we consider student or educational income that would be reported. That's one of them that's considered, and there's different rules, like as you mentioned, like what programs count that and what programs exclude that.
Okay, Angel says, how would we know if it's taxable or non-taxable, she says.
So I have something I can share with you specific to paid leave Oregon, which kind of shows it for that income. If I can find that, I shared it. This actually came from a conversation. I don't know if Vixen is here today, but this started as a conversation with Vixen, who had questions about how to report that income.
She says, thank you. It'd be so helpful to search for the income source in the document to know where.
Bear with me just a minute here. So, so yeah, as mentioned from a conversation started about pay leave Oregon. So this is a guide that I made for Vixen to use for the Neon community partner organization. And this is based off of the guidance that's given to workers as well. So it should be in line with that. So for all types of paid leave Oregon, we'd report it as unearned income on the income information screen. For the following leave types, so for paid leave Oregon, based off of how you're like what your supported reason is for receiving paid leave Oregon, it'd be family leave, safety leave, or assistance grants. That would be other income taxable. And then if you were receiving paid leave Oregon for medical leave, it would be considered other income non-taxable. I'd have to do a little more research to get examples of other kinds of income, because really, as I've been thinking of this, it's been mostly specific to paid leave Oregon, and it's been so long since I've had income policy in like my daily workload, so I don't have a good answer outside of that. But this is an example of how this specific type would be separated between taxable and non-taxable.
Maria asked Andrew if she could get this guide also.
Yeah, I can give it to maybe James. You can send it out to the whole group, so all the community partners can get it.
Another way too, guys, I would like to suggest is if you're not if you're not sure, the IRS should have a whole list of taxable stuff too. IRS is a good resource.
Really, like I think hopefully most income types should be captured in a way that is more direct in our system. I'm not saying that you would never use this, but I think this is really for situations where we don't have a specific income type already in the system for what you're trying a report.
Any more questions before we move? Okay, James.
So it sounds like we're moving forward on this number 72. So great. Yeah.
Did you want to vote on it?
I think we're good. I don't know.
So we're all good on this, guys? Maria, Vanessa, Susan, Ingra? Okay, got some thumbs up. Susan? Sydney? April? Yep.
All
You're all-
right. Thank you, George, and thank you, everyone. Well, here we are, the last few minutes, and put Andrew back in the spotlight. I hope you all had a chance to take a look at that iconography guide that we popped on you last month. And it's it's impressive work. Any ideas how to improve it, wordsmith it, how we need to get it out? You can probably go on that partner website that I was showing you earlier. But where else can it go? So I guess in our continuing quest to make sure Angel is popping things on and off, we'll one of us can share this document as well.
Yeah, I guess first off, if anyone who had time to review it, I don't know if there's anything that stands out that you want to comment on that we need to change, add to it. I think we don't have a lot of structure to how we want to get this feedback, so I guess we can just open the floor to anyone who might have any immediate feedback.
I sent it out to my Northwest Senior and Disability Services partners, and they said it was okay. They
Sounds
liked
good to
it.
me. Thank you for doing that, Judith.
Andrew?
George.
Are you and Samantha going to make this? You don't know if you did or not, but are you going to be making this into other languages too as well?
Well, I mean, I'm all for that. Yes. If it's made into like an official form, then I think that would be part of that process. If it's put in any way on the applicant, the online portal, that would be in at least English and Spanish. But we haven't quite gotten there yet, but I think that's a great idea.
So I would like to suggest, with you guys doing a lot of work on this in many languages, take something like this that are many languages and make it into a small book where it has English, Spanish, Oriental, yada yada, all on one book. So when a consumer comes into the state office or whatever, they can open it up and select their language when they open up the book without having to figure out what language, and kind of make it into a page, like English in page 1, Spanish in page 2. Combine them in such a way easier for people like Mariah or Vanessa or Cindy or Judith to kind of go over and say, okay, well, it's on this page, so.
So you're saying make it more of like a physical resource or tool that someone could use in conjunction with working on the computer?
Yeah, Maria agrees with me, make it into a booklet.
So what we can definitely for sure do is as we get those translations, we can add them to this existing PDF file and add that sort of like logical, put the table of contents at the front, have the notation through it so that it's digitally broken up like a book. And then if offices or different partners decide to print it, it would be all organized for them. Typically, we do not produce print materials aside from our applications in a mass way like this. We would let the offices say, oh yes, could you have this printed for me if they want to have a print version available. But that's a great idea. We can definitely add it in and get all that notation added so that it's a single file for all languages that's available, as well as have the files made available separately per language.
Well, Smith, the PDF is all fine, but when you get someone coming up to customer service, like in a state office, who's going to want to print up all these languages in a PDF form? Not everybody has computers.
Yeah, so I think that could be left up, if it is available in a PDF in like a local office, for example, has like a computer lab or something, or like an area where people can use computers to apply, and it seems like a resource that they want to support, that might be something that they could do at like a local level, by just printing that out and making it available there.
It would even also be hard to try to pull it up on a phone when you're trying to fill out the application, because they only come by inches on the phone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I guess I just haven't really gotten to that point of thinking it through quite yet. But I think once we get to getting this available as a form and seeing how people are using it, these are all really great ideas.
Judith, how come you don't like it in a booklet form?
Because I feel like it's a waste of paper and it's a waste of time and it's a heavily cost. And, obviously, every time there's a change, we have to throw everything out and start over again. And that's expensive. And we have to keep the cost so that we can keep the consumer well engaged. That's just the way I feel.
I agree, Judith. I don't really know how many paper anything is really going around. It's usually by request only. And at least the communities I serve are rural, and very rarely are they in person. They want something live that they can kind of go through and pull up. And I mean, I have plenty of PDF files saved on my phone that I could just pull up and scroll through. Yeah.
Well, and the thing is that we could make a a template, and laminate it so that it's there in the offices so that they could see what the steps they need to take. But a booklet is just too much money and it's just a waste. And right now we have to think about where our money's coming from and how we're going to use it. Sorry.
No, I think that was a great point, Judith. And yeah, I think like you mentioned with like a laminated copy, that's kind of what I was getting at with if it is available as a PDF and a local office decides that's something that they're hearing from their community that they really need a physical copy, that office could decide to print it out and provide that in their office.
Exactly. Which is much easier than a booklet.
April agrees with you, Judith.
Yeah, okay.
Anybody's other take? Maria? Sydney? Angela, what do you think? Susan?
Is there any way to integrate it into the actual application, like the question marks that you click on it and that information comes up as that's what it means?
Yeah, so that's part of it's part of what we're looking at, and in the way that it's currently designed, how we've thought of doing that is, for example, on this page that we're on now, these all pertain to what is on the landing page, the homepage for the online portal. So having some sort of link on the online portal where you would click this and it was display this in a new tab or something like that, or a new window, to have everything that pertains to that particular screen available. And then we have some other screen specific ones where that gets a little murky, or where we haven't been able to quite settle on a good solution. Is some of the later pages, I think the last like 3 or 4 pages of this document, aren't as particularly linear as this first page and the second page, I think, where yeah, I think if you go to the second page, it's all relating to the dashboard. So these two would be really good candidates for having a link to display this particular PDF page in a separate window that could be viewed. If you go to the next page, on this page, we start to have some, as I mentioned, non-linear, like some of these icons that are pointed out may occur earlier on in the application than this particular screen. So we don't, we could provide also just like a general link to the whole document. I think, within thinking of this as not trying to introduce an entirely new change request that would take some time to implement. What can we do in one or a couple of work items that would get this implemented into this system fairly soon? And then looking at taking this concept or a similar concept, and then as we were talking about earlier in the CR overviews, the modernization of the online portal, what can we do with these concepts and this type of idea to integrate that into the screen redesigns there to make sort of a more dynamic and usable guide?
Ninja, any response?
Well, I think this is great, and I agree that if a Korean-speaking member comes in and need this information, that we have consist.
So Andrew, do you want us to vote on this, or do you want to, or
I guess I was hoping from what I'm hearing no feedback about the actual content of it, and the concern is more of like, how do we successfully implement this and make this available? If there is feedback about the content, about things that should be added or taken away, I would love to hear that as well. Otherwise, I have a few other edits from, I think, James and Dion and some of our internal group that have shared with me. I'll make those tweaks. But I was hoping, if people have feedback, to hear that so I can incorporate that into sort of the final version of this before we push it forwards to like getting it created as a document, to getting it linked in the applicant portal, or the online portal.
so are we looking at it being approved in the next meeting if we can't do it this meeting?
Well, I guess I thought we had already thought, in working on this and in moving forward with this, I thought we had kind of already approved the overall idea, and I think we're trying to settle on the content of it. So if you would like to vote on it, if folks have had enough time to review it and want to say, yep, it's good to go, then you can have a vote on that.
Paul, I know you're new to this committee as a guest, so what would your take be?
So based off of what I'm seeing, I like what Andrew has set up here. I'd like to do a little more diving in before I gave a basis of a vote, so to speak. I don't know that my vote would mean that much to everyone around. I'd really have to look at all the aspects, because I'm in and out of this particular area on on a daily basis to be, is it a benefit or is it a hindrance for the clients?
Okay, it does.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
And so yeah, we're in no particular rush to get this implemented. I mean, I think if we all feel it's a good tool, it'd be good to get it out to folks as soon as possible. But certainly, as you, Paul, have just recently joined, if you need more time to review it and give some feedback, you could do that. And you can, outside of this meeting, you could email James or me directly.
Okay.
If you have time to review.
Yeah, definitely. I could. I should be able to knock it out in the next day or two, reviewing it all the way through. Send out any suggestions that I see that maybe with an oversight, or you guys have already thought about it. To be honest with you.
Okay. Yeah.
Go ahead, James.
Yeah, I was just going to say we're sort of reaching the end of our time. And I was just want to give a little recap. But Andrew, do you have a closing thought on this?
No, not at the moment. I would just encourage anyone who, since we're going to take a little bit more time to review this still, anyone who hasn't had time to give any feedback or take a look at it, if you would like to, please feel free to get that feedback to James or
The
myself.
only question or comment I really have is, other than the first home page, really everyone's screen is going to look different, right? Like depending on what you're applying for, or what they're looking on the screen is gonna look differently, correct? So if I'm like concerned about like what exactly is this, if it's in a format, like does I have to like scroll to find the icon, right, that I'm looking for of what is this? So I don't know if there's like another format where you're like, because I've noticed like there's I'm looking, there's banners, so there's like the 8% complete, there's a red banner, there's a yellow banner. So I'm thinking of like if I'm just looking like what does this specific image mean? Is there a way of grouping the images by classified, like whether if it's going to be sent as a bar or as a top section or somewhere in the bottom? I don't know. I can't connect. My brain is not connected to my mouth today, and I apologize, but do you kind of get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or am I?
Yep, I do, and I think that's good feedback, and I think that's getting towards, it's in particular the last couple pages of this, like how we might link that or kind of make it relevant in a link to make it more available throughout the application or something. So
Just easier to navigate, because here it's like I can just see someone saying like, oh, well, my screen doesn't look like that. Like if my screen doesn't look exactly like page 6 or 3, I'm not going to think it's going to apply to me. But like I said, everyone's screen is going to look different. So if it's like, are you looking for bubbles? Are you looking for banners? Is it a button? Like, how do we classify it? How do we classify it to make it easier to navigate and find the specific question that I have in regards to the certain icon that I'm like, what in the flippity flapjack is this?
Yeah.
Okay, well, with that being said, Andrew, Angel, and James, let's go ahead and put this to a vote in the next meeting. That way, I'm sure it'll give us some time to look over this one more for March.
Yeah, that sounds good. It's thinking about, because right now this guide, I know there's the first 2 pages, which are similar for everyone. There's this one, sorry, I'm just going to jump around to them. And then this one, but the subsequent pages 3 to 5, they're just going to appear somewhere. And is there a way we can group them, or Andrew can group them? I say he's doing all the work. That's a thought.
So March, we'll vote on it in March then, so.
Yeah.
All right.
And just as a reminder, sort of to myself, we'll get out the guides, the SOTI and RealD guides, the income guide out to you all that Andrew's put together. And but if you run into difficulties, like earlier Mariah talked about, some weird error that she was getting, don't be a stranger. Let us know. what you're seeing, because that'll be helpful for us.
And can you make sure to share this, the iconography guide out again too for Paul or anyone else who might not have it yet?
And one other little plug is we got to start sharing the suggestion sheet. We're sort of caught up right now on the suggestions that have come in. So any little ideas or noodles that you have to fix some things, let us know and we'll get it on the list.
So what else is on the agenda?
That's it. We're done for today.
Well, for today.
Okay.
James, I thought I had submitted a the suggestion form, but maybe it didn't go through. So I'll send it again. I think I had asked something about Medicare question section, but I'll send it again.
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt to send it again. I'll check. I try to respond to people who have been submitting it, but I have not. I recognize I've not been perfect on that, and so we may have looked at it and it's like, oh, this is like something else we're working on, and I never told the submitter. So things like that happen. So yeah, please do.
Okay, sounds good.
I do want to tell the committee members that James or Andrew will be given a presentation at DSEC sometime this month. Please let everybody know that wants to come to this meeting or the meeting times to go out to all of you, so you can spread the word, because this is really important in our work. And I think it's going to help us even more, including making people, or at least have people, to give us more suggestions. We've got, we have a lot more to do. We really need more suggestive ideas to keep us going. If you know anybody or know anybody that wants to make any more suggestions, spread the word. We really need this to be picked up again. This is the new year, and so on and so forth.
George?
Yeah.
At the DSAC meeting, whomever is making the presentation about our work, that's the perfect time to tell everybody that and give contact information that we are looking for new members.
Okay, James, make note.
Yep, that'd be a good place, actually. So
It would be, absolute.
So we're losing people because it is 1 o'clock. We're past time.
No, it's not. It's not one. It's just one. Jeez.
Technically, we end at 12:55, but we never do.
Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, I'm embarrassed now.
Before we adjourn, James, could you give out that date and time?
Oh, for the DSAC meeting, yeah, it is Tuesday, February 25th. And the main event will be Andrew walking through the ONE application with DSAC members in mind.
And what time?
I'm sorry, the meeting starts at 2 o'clock.
February 25th.
Yep, 2 to 4.
2 to 4. All right. You guys got all the information. Angel, please make sure that it goes out to everybody, please. So I will see all you guys in the March meeting, if not the DSAC meeting. Paul, you are invited to the DSAC meeting too on the 25th.
And we hope you're there for our support.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. Appreciate the invite.
Thanks.
Thanks,
George.
No problem, and I adjourn the meeting. See you all.